Hey guys, it is November 2nd, 2018, and I just want to hop on here really quickly and talk to you guys, make a video. So today is my Celiversary. As you guys know, about 3 years ago today, I decided that I was going to be committed to 100% celibacy until marriage, and I'm gonna be 100% honest with y'all. I didn't want to make this video today. Normally I go out and I celebrate. I, take myself to dinner and do something I've never done before or whatever. Some type of celebration for myself with my Celiversary. And that's, annually, but every once in a while I'll do one like, every couple of months or whatever. But definitely as an annual celebration, do something for myself. But this year, I wasn't feeling it. And I'm going to be 100% honest, 100% transparent. The main reason I wasn't feeling it is because a couple months ago I started dating again, and in September I backslid a little bit. I'm tell the truth, tell the truth, shame the devil. And so when today came around, I didn't feel like today was worth celebrating because I felt like, well, it has no longer been 3 years. And when I say backslid, September came around, spent some time with my boyfriend, and we ended up messing around a little bit. There was no full-blown penetration or anything like that, but it definitely went further than it should have. And so to me, I was at a point where I was condemning myself, and I felt like, today was no longer worth celebrating. You didn't make 3 years, blah blah blah. And had completely forgotten about the grace factor that comes with it. I think a lot of times, as Christians, we continuously tell other people, that God gives you grace and He's forgiving God and blah blah blah. But we have a hard time doing that for ourselves. And so I was having one of those moments, even though that was something that I thought that I had dealt with a couple months ago. So they came around and I was beating myself up. And it kind of took my best friend and even, some prayer times, conversation with God to realize that it was not something to be beating myself up about. It happened. It's done. Prayed about it. We asked for forgiveness. Said this is never going to happen again. It's over. The end. And I know it sounds like, oh, well, that's hypocritical and it's not that simple, but it really is that simple. At the end of the day, we're human, we make mistakes. Not saying that, just because God gives me grace and He forgives me doesn't mean that I continuously do it over and over and over again. It's just learn from my mistake and move on. Continue to beat myself up about it was not going to solve the problem. It's not going to change the fact that it happened. The past, and I can't really take it back. It doesn't change the fact that I have come as far as I did. And it also, in that, made me realize that I had been looking at this totally wrong for so long. Like for almost 3 years now, I had really been looking at celibacy incorrectly, I guess you could say. Especially as far as, as soon as something happens that was outside of what this picture in my head was, that I felt like, oh, I have to throw the whole thing away and basically start over, like the clock starts over. I mean, to be 100% honest with y'all, I know I told y'all this before, but I had committed to celibacy before, and, definitely, like, I messed up, had sex, and I took that one time as like, oh, well, you know what, throw the whole thing away, screw it, I clearly messed up now, we're just gonna throw the whole thing in, I'm gonna do what I want to do. And I did that for like 6-7 months before I finally came back and recommitted to it. And even then, I struggled, with the thoughts that I did today, just on a whole nother level. Because I did that for like a whole 6-7 months. So I finally came back and said, okay. But even at that time, I didn't realize what I was doing until today. When I was like, nope, you got to start all the way over. Because this morning, I woke up and was like, Crystal, it ain't been no 3 years. We starting all the way over. So we resetting the date to September, and you in month 2. That's where I was this morning. But you know, after some time with God, realizing that that's not necessarily the case. You know, there was a hiccup along the way, but you know, God sees my heart. He sees what I was trying to do. I know where I'm trying to do. I know how far I've come. And I've also realized that the celibacy thing was not just about sex. So even though it was a major part of it, and even though it was something very, very important, it was more about my relationship with God than the sex. And we, you know, like I explained to y'all before, this is something that saved my life. The sex was a big part of it because, you know, I had problems with sex. I had an addiction to sex. So it was definitely an issue. But I had to see the big picture, you know, that a calling lied in it. And then even talking to my friend, understanding that this is a part of the process. You know, nothing is by happenstance. And that sounds ridiculous when talking about this. Like, oh, well, you know, how could you messing up in your celibacy be a part of the process? And, you know, but the Bible says that all things work together for my good. And so even the things that I messed up in regarding my celibacy or anything else are still going to work for my good. And I understand that with the calling that requires me to be transparent, it's also going to require me to go through certain things. And how can I be transparent and speak to the person who has been celibate for, you know, 3, 7, 10, 15 years and backslid if I've never been in that position? You know, hypothetically speaking, I guess you can encourage all day, but there's a difference between being able to encourage somebody and being able to 100% empathize with what they're going through. So to those of you out there who have either experienced it or are experiencing that now, I get it 100%. I know it's easier said than done. Stop beating yourself up. It's not going to solve anything. At the end of the day, God knows your heart. Go ahead. Have your moment with him. Kick, scream, cry, throw things. You know, throw your temper tantrum. Lord knows I did. But at the end of the day, get it out your system. Talk to God about it. You know, go ahead and put yourself in a place where you're ready to ask for forgiveness and then move on. If you linger on it and you keep beating yourself up about it, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to do any better. I mean, my best friend told me, she let me have my moment for like a day or so, and then she was like, you are letting the devil beat the brakes off of you. Like, you are your own worst enemy right now. Stop it. Because you're negating everything that you have done, everything that you have accomplished, everything that you have overcome. You're throwing that all away over one incident. Stop it. And it wasn't, I'm not going to lie. When it happened, you know, when I have accountability partners and I talked to them about it. And so one of them, you know, when at the time I was kind of just trying to pretend like it wasn't that big a deal, you know. I mean, I was just like, oh, you know, at least I didn't have sex. And my accountability partner, being the accountability partner that he is, was like, yes, you did. I was like, oh, God. He's like, that's still sex. I was like, okay, you're right. So that's when it kind of hit me. That's when it sunk in. That's when I had my little temper tantrum. A little mini temper tantrum. But it didn't really for real sink in until today. But like I said, you guys, it's have to move on. I know that it's a lot easier said than done. But with time, with prayer, with support from others, it can be done. If you're in a relationship and you're dating and you guys decided to be celibate and are struggling with it, I get it. The struggle is real, y'all. The struggle. Jesus, the struggle is real. I think most of us don't realize how real it is. You know, when I became celibate, I had bought into this fairy tale that, like, I'm just going to stop having sex and, you know, walking down the grocery store aisle or at church or whatever, God is going to drop this man in my face and he's going to be like, hey, this is your husband. And we're both going to be like, God told me you're the one. And then, you know, we're going to have this like super quick, happy-go-lucky courtship, and then we're going to get married and we're going to skip off into the rainbow fields with unicorns and live happily ever after. And, well, for any of you who are celibate, we all realize that that is not true. That's not how this works. if you're new to the game or considering the game, I'm sorry, but I am definitely here to bust the bubble, and it's a bubble that I wish somebody would have bust for me from the beginning. It does not work like that. Celibacy does not exempt you from real life situations. Celibacy does not exempt you from relationship problems or arguments. Celibacy doesn't exempt you from health issues or financial issues or whatever. It does not work that way. You live life just like everybody else, and to be real, you might be attached a little bit more because you are making an effort to serve and do something for God. So yeah, that whole idea has 100% been shattered, and I know it sounds crazy, but I'm glad it has, because that's not the reality of the situation. So for those of you who are celibate, looking forward to courtship, or in a courtship, or have been through this, just wanted to jump on here and encourage you that it can be done. It takes work, y'all. It takes heck of work, and it will expose you to yourself, but it's 100% worth it. If you've backslid, like I said, take the time, talk to God, forgive yourself first and foremost. And that's really the hardest part about it. Asking God for forgiveness is one thing, but if you don't forgive yourself, it's not going to get you anywhere. You're going to be feeling the same way. You're going to be stuck in the same spot. So first and foremost, ask God for forgiveness, but forgive yourself. And then make yourself a plan. Like, after all that happened, I had to sit down and be like, okay, Crystal, how did we get here? How are we not going to get here anymore? What are we doing going forward? So like I said, I just wanted to jump in here and encourage y'all. Y'all have a good night. I'm going to bed.